That old deer this morning came right to the fence line where we needed him to cross, coming in the field. And look, off he is.
Larry Wisehoon comes by his title of Mr. Whitetail, honestly. And you can bet he won't let this smart old South Texas buck get away from him twice.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by the Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Nikon, the trusted name in optics. Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker. Cabela's, the world's foremost outfitter. The Buck Bomb blows away traditional scents. And by Bad Boy Buggies, they'll never hear you coming.
I'll tell you what, they have done wonders on this property over the last several years. I've been coming to this ranch off and on for 25 years, I think, and it just keeps getting better.
The Perlitz Ranch is one of Winchester World of Whitetail Larry Wisehoon's favorite places. And no wonder, with 9,000 acres of prime habitat for dove, turkey, quail, and of course, whitetail deer.
Hey, Larry.
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good to see you again.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
Hey, Mr. Larry. How you doing, buddy?
Tom?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Well, I was going to ask you if you had my bad boy pool down here, but I noticed there's one there.
I got one with me, buddy.
Good, by golly, I figured you did.
You ready to go look at some deer?
I'm ready. I'll tell you what, we'll throw some gear in there after a while.
For over 80 years, the Perlitz Ranch has been in operation right in the heart of South Texas big buck country. One of the largest working ranches in the state. Over time, the emphasis has shifted on the spread from cattle to the wildlife inhabiting some of the finest unspoiled brush country Texas has to offer.
The Perlitz Ranch started, as I recall, in about 1924, so it's been around for a long, long time. I've had the opportunity over the years as the biologist and as a friend of the Perlitz family to go down and hunt.
When the Perlitz Ranch started, it was mainly cattle. And then, say in '92, we started dipping in a little bit, doing a little hunts, and have gradually gotten to where we're doing all hunts now, and just very few cattle. I remember when we were flying surveys out here, just the helicopter would be going by with Larry and the pilot in it, and we'd just drive to a road to see if they give us a thumbs up or see if we could see a deer cross. I mean, that was one of the most exciting days when Larry came out and flew the survey, and sit down and have a meeting with them and see what they saw, and it was very exciting to me.
But over the years, I've kind of gone back and really kind of helped with the management program more than anything else, of taking out those older 8 points, older 9 points, maybe even occasionally a 10 point, but primarily concentrating on those older 8 point bucks that really nobody else is interested in terms of a trophy type animal, to get the opportunity to hunt, and particularly to hunt one big old 8 point deer that Jimmy had found. To me, that is the supreme challenge, is to go after one particular buck kind of to the exclusion of all others, and Jimmy gave me that opportunity this year to do so.
On a ranch filled with trophy bucks, Mr. Whitetail's decided to do things the hard way. While there are any number of fine deer he could take at any time, he set his sights on one and only one specific wise old 8-pointer to test his skills and his patience.
sitting in this field was an absolute pleasure, both as a hunter and as a wildlife biologist as well, because it gave me the opportunity to see a lot of different deer that were coming into this old field. We saw deer, particularly does and fawns, that were just in absolutely great body condition. Then the other side of it, on the buck side, you could sit there and literally study those animals. And what was the beauty of it is you could see a 3-year-old standing beside a yearling, a 2-year-old standing beside a 4 or 5-year-old, and it gave you a great point of reference and made it a whole lot easier to get an idea of how old those deer were. So it was an opportunity to really watch how deer do things that particular time of year in that late or really early pre-rut.
Seeing all those deer and reveling in the opportunity to observe their natural behaviors has whetted Wisehuhn's appetite for both more deer hunting and for getting back to the ranch's hunters' quarters to compare notes, swap stories, and enjoy an outstanding evening meal in preparation for the next morning.
That's the way to do it right there. Good gosh. Whew, it's hot too.
Well, let me get the dip off the side of the cup that you left on there. Maybe that has something to do with it.
The crack of rifle fire at the crack of dawn is familiar to the hunters on the Perlitz Ranch, and so's the arrival of a hunter back from the field with the first buck of the morning. It's an event everybody wants to participate in, especially in this case, when this deer represents part of the particular quest the hunter's shooting for.
Tom Enzel was in camp. Tom is with Bad Boy Buggies. Tom in particular this year is trying to take the Texas Slam, which amounts to a deer that meets a minimum score in a particular area. The same thing holding true for a desert mule deer and also a pronghorn antelope. He was in camp trying to take a deer that would score at least 140. That's a good looking deer. He is pretty. As it worked out, he took one, not only did it score 140, it scored netted, I think, like 146, 148, but it grossed 152.
Is it Wisehuhn's turn next? Stay tuned to Winchester World of Whitetail.
Good luck, guys.
As Winchester World of Whitetail returns to the Perlitz Ranch in the South Texas brush country, it's time for Larry Wisehuhn's World of Management. One of the best things that a hunter can do for the deer and the hunting on his hunting land is to plant food plots. But not all food plots are created equal, as Wisehuhn explains.
Yeah, this will be just about perfect for what I'm looking for. When it comes to food plots, there are really two types of food plots. One is one that you want to hunt over a small, secluded area like this. The deer feel very comfortable. The other is a much larger one, but this is an ideal setup. There's no brush pile over there that we could use as a ground blind. All we have to do is come in here and clear out a little bit, bring in our ATV or whatever, turn the soil and plant. Now, if you don't own the property, one of the things you really want to do is to check with your landowner, with your landlord, to see that it's okay with them. But this is an ideal setup. We got a tree over there, place for a ground blind, small area. Again, all these areas here where those deer can come through little trails, ideal for a hunting plot. Now, if you really want to try to help those animals in terms of nutrition, you're going to want a much bigger food plot. Looks like over here might be a good spot. Oh man, this is perfect. Now, this is what I've been looking for. Got a large area here to produce a lot of forage in a food plot. Give those deer an opportunity to come out here and feed, but there's still a little bit of brush in here that we'll leave in here so they'll feel really comfortable. But it, again, is a large enough area to produce a lot of forage. But the other thing I like about it, if you look, there's a run that goes back this way, another one that way, and that way. Lots of area to put food plots in, but also a lot of areas to set up tree stands if you're a bow hunter, or if you like to hunt out of a tree, or ground blinds. And the beauty of it is, the way this thing is laid out, no matter which way the wind's blowing, I can set up a tree stand, set up a ground blind, and not have to worry about the wind. Perfect situation for a food plot. Large enough, but also where you can hunt over it. This is ideal.
Deer hunters, as much as deer, can become creatures of habit, and one way bucks grow old and big is to pattern hunters the way hunters try to pattern them.
Get her done.
So as everyone heads out to the farthest boundaries of the ranch, Wiseun just puts his feet up on the porch and waits for the dust to settle.
Yeah, we'll just let everybody get out of here, won't we, partner? Let them all go to the four corners of the pastures, all the way around the ranch. And after everybody leaves, we'll slip into our secret hiding place, won't we? So very often when people come into hunting camp, they want to go to the far corners of the ranch, far corners of the property. Where do some of those old bucks hang out? Right there close to the house. Now normally they don't really let you go out without a guide, but being the fact that I've known the Perlitz family for a long time and spent a lot of time on the ranch, both Jeffrey and Jimmy allowed that I could go out by myself to look for this particular deer. We set up a ground blind, built a ground blind probably about 100 yards or so behind Jim Perlitz's house, Jimmy's dad, in this open field. Boy, this is a perfect setup. We got the sun at our back. Got a lot of cover here in this tree, but I can see in between a lot of those branches. Wind's in our favor, kind of in our face. That'd be a great setup. But I'm gonna put out just a little bit of cover scent using some of the doe pig. It's too early to use doe and heat or some of the others. So we're just gonna kind of spray a little bit of it up there. That'll kind of work as a cover scent. And you know, you didn't know for sure which way that deer was going to come in, if he was going to come in at all. But these bucks that we were seeing and the does that we were seeing, they were coming in literally from every direction. Oh man, it's a good looking deer. Oh shit. That is a good looking buck. He's got some age on him. Got good time length. Good mass. Oh man. He's not the one I'm looking for. And there's two nice bucks over there. There's another buck outside the fence, and I think it's our buck. Oh yeah, there's no doubt he's got that back swept on him. He's right on the other side of the fence. No, it's not gonna work if I get it right there. Oh yeah, no doubt it's him. I can see his antlers. See just a little bit of his body. Oh, maybe he'll come in the field. Come on, buck. Oh no, he's moving in. He's moving in that grass. Just have to watch. Come on out of there. It was like he knew that something was not quite right, that something was amiss, something was wrong. And this buck would just avoid this field because one of the gentlemen that works for Jimmy on a daily basis had seen this buck there 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, almost every afternoon. But as of the last few days before we got there, he kind of disappeared. But it was that key that we had, that he'd been in that area, that gave us the idea, well, let's hunt right here behind the house. Because again, this was an old, mature deer, a deer that really was probably patterning the hunters as they were leaving out, and then he was coming back in to eat in that field right there around the house. Jimmy's down at the ranch all the time, all throughout the fall. I'm traveling all the time, so when Saturday comes, generally we're gone. Well, as it worked out this particular Saturday, His son James and my grandson Andrew were both play football on the same team. We had the opportunity to leave the ranch right during the middle of the day, go to the football stadium, and watch his son and my grandson play football. It was an absolutely great treat as far as I was concerned.
Are we gonna have to watch the home movies of your Hawaiian vacation too?
Hey, that's my grandson.
Yeah, and he turned out real well, considering.
That's him. There's no doubt about it.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by the Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Nikon, the trusted name in optics. Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker. Cabela's, the world's foremost outfitter. The Buck Bomb blows away traditional scents. Bad Boy Buggies, they'll never hear you coming. And by Wild Game Innovations, nutrition, attraction, and action.
And I'd hunted from this particular 8-point buck I was after for several hunts. Just could not find him. Knowing that, or feeling that I knew that he was somewhere close around the house.
One thing you can say about Larry Wiseman, when he starts something, he does finish it.
Came down to the last morning, and I am wondering, you know, are we going to even see this deer? Well, I'm all set up, sitting in this ground blind. I'd put a bunch of ragweed and things around it to kind of cover it up so you couldn't see in and through a little bit better. Trying to keep it fresh, using that as cover scent as well. And I'm sitting there, and the deer start coming in and out of the field a little bit, and I'm watching some deer out in front of me, and I keep looking around, and I know there's this old food plot back over here, but really hadn't seen a whole lot in there. These bucks have not yet really started showing much aggression. The younger bucks are pushing a little bit, but they're not even close yet to any kind of a rut activity. Boy, there's a dandy right there. So I'm looking around and happen to look back. Oh yeah, there's a doe and a fawn out in the field, and I'm looking, oh, there's a nice buck way down there getting ready to come to water. And I glass it, and probably a total of about 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds pass from the time that I've looked out here in this field, and I just happened to look back, and there's a big-bodied deer there. Oh my God, that's him. I think it is. And I put the binocs up. Not only is it a big-bodied deer, it's the buck we're after. Just look there. That's him. There's no doubt about it. I am sure, there is no doubt, he's got a particular big frame, 8-point style rack. Now I know that 308 shoots extremely well. Come around, center of the crosshairs, high on the shoulder. Oh my gosh, please Lord, make this bullet go through. Oh, he's down. He's down. He is down. He's not going anywhere. Oh, man. Whop. He goes down. He goes down just like that, hardly ever even kicks. And finally, on the last morning, with very little time left before I have to leave, I got to take the deer that I was after. Oh my gosh, he's even a lot more massive than I imagined, too. Gosh. Golly, that is an 8-point buck. Golly, he has got long tines. Those are about 10. Good brow tines, really good mass. Probably, oh, there's 20 inches. He's got 21, 22 inches inside. Oh man, oh man. How old is he? Oh, he's an old deer too. Perfect, perfect, perfect. To me, there's nothing more fun than to get after one particular old buck. And if you take him, great. If you don't, let him win. This time we came out a winner. Oh man.
Can you shoot a little smaller one next time?
No. At least not antler-wise, body-wise, I agree. You got you.